Hi, my name is Kira, and welcome back to After I Decided to Stay. So, I'm laughing because I'm trying to be upbeat and I'm trying to be like jolly, but this is not how I really feel right now. So, I recently found out, well, honestly, I thought I was in my dark night of the soul, but I ended up finding out that actually I'm in my Saturn return. And so if you don't know what a Saturn return is, a Saturn return is, it happens twice in your life. And what happens is the planet of Saturn returns back to the point that it was when you were born. So it happens when you're on your way to 30, and then it happens, I think, when you're on your way to your 50s, I think. Yeah. And then 87 if you're blessed to make it to 87. So I'm in my first Saturn return. Right now I'm 28. Next month in September I will be turning 29. And my Saturn return ends when it ends when it ends in January of next year, so 2023. And I'm so ready for this to be over. I feel like if I had known beforehand that I was in my Saturn return, then it would have helped a lot more. But I didn't know. And I've always believed in astrology because I'm a double Virgo. So when I read things about Virgos, like, it fits me to a T because it's my sun sign and it's my moon sign. My rising is Sagittarius, so I'm in my Saturn return, and it's a Saturn return in Aquarius. And what's crazy is before I found out that I was in my Saturn return, I kept saying to my little sister, I was like, I'm losing my faith in humanity. I kept saying this a lot, which is crazy because, like, after I decided to stay, I was all in. And I just grabbed life by the horns, and I was so happy to be here. So I'm normally, like, really goofy all the time, joking around, having fun, playing, like, just like a big kid. And I would see people, and people would do things and have things, and I would be so happy for them. Like, I would see couples and I would be like, oh my gosh, you're such a beautiful couple. And now I'm starting to experience emotions I've never experienced before, like jealousy and envy, and being like, thinking like, when is this gonna happen for me? When is my time to shine? Like, how long am I gonna be struggling? Because, like, I've had a lot of things happen to me, but I've never once been like, oh, things are supposed to happen a certain way in life, and when is mine gonna happen and stuff. But now, like, I'm gonna be 30 soon, and I'm like, I feel like I'm behind, like I haven't done things that I'm supposed to do. And that would have been fine. Like, that I could have overcame, but like just I feel like people are showing me their, like, the ugliest side of them lately. So I, like, created this outline of all the things that have happened to me, and I might miss some things, but I made this pretty quickly. And I don't want to scare people and say, oh, it's going to be the worst time in your life, because it might not be for you. One of the things that I found that really frustrates me when I read articles about Saturn returns is they say, oh, well, this is the hardest time for people who partied in their 20s and lived their best life, and now real life hits and stuff. I've been an adult my whole life. I learned how to change diapers at the age of 8. My aunt used to leave her infants with me to babysit when I was in elementary school. I used to change diapers and feed children. I'm very good at taking care of babies because of that. Like, I was pretty much trained, groomed as a child to be able to take care of children in a home. So I've been an adult for a very, very long time. So when they say, oh, it's for people who enjoyed their 20s, like, I've been an adult for a very long time. My 20s, I did not get to party. I worked during my 20s, and I was financially abused during my 20s. And I've gone through a lot of things, but I still was not prepared for this Saturn return. This was not easy for me. This is not easy for me. I've experienced a lot of things, and for me, it wasn't like physical labor. It was like mental things I'm trying to get through now, because it's brought out a lot of things in me that I never thought was a part of me as a person. So the first thing I will start with is I had a conversation with my grandmother about my mom, because I'll put it long story short, because the kid doesn't like me to talk about her a lot. So she doesn't like people in her business, and I try to respect her boundaries, because I want it's important for children to grow up knowing what boundaries are. So long story short, my little sister, she's my child. I raised her. I'll just put it like that. And I had spoken to my grandmother. This was at the beginning of my Saturn return. Wish I would have known what I was going through, but I had no idea. And my grandmother said to me, no one asked you to take care of her. And that was like a punch in the gut to me, really like a punch to the throat, because I really didn't know what to say after that. And she said, and she just like, she was so serious. And I think to myself, all these adults in this family, and none of y'all, not one of y'all asked me if this child's okay, if she needs anything, nothing. But then I just want to vent, and I just want to tell you some of the things I'm dealing with. And I don't go into detail with certain family members, especially my grandmother, because I know she doesn't care. So I was keeping it very surface level. So I'm keeping it very surface level. I'm not even going in like I feel like I could. And you tell me no one asked you to take care of her. What am I supposed to do? Abandon her? There's no way. Where is the humanity? Where is the kindness? Where is the love? I would never in my life just abandon this child. I love her so unconditionally with all of me that I have. Like I said before, she's the first ever person in my family to show me unconditional love. I will never abandon her. So the second thing that happened to me was I had a cousin. I'm not going to give too much details because I don't want anyone to try to figure out who these people are, but I'm definitely not saying names. But I had a cousin come over, and I guess she got mad because I wouldn't let her stay at my house. And she went around to my entire family and told them that I'm into bestiality. Yeah. She thought it was okay to lie about something like that. Now, I don't like to measure things, but I might have been a little bit more okay if she told people that I was a murderer. Like, it was so devastating, and it really has a lot of people looking at me like what really irked me about it the most was some people in my family who I thought were close to me believed her. I hadn't seen this girl in years, and I see these family members all the time, but they believed her over someone who hasn't seen me in years. I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is a joke, right? Because I hadn't even really got into my Saturn return yet. So none of this stuff really hit me the way it hits me now. Because after a while of going through a Saturn return, you start to get really, really broken down. Like, you start to realize, oh, this is real. Like, what I thought of the world was like is totally different. People really are out here trash. People are really garbage out here, like, for real. The fact that she would even make up that sort of lie, and then the fact that family members who were supposed to be close to me would believe that, I felt like a joke was being played on me. When people came and told me this, I was like, y'all are making this up, right? And they were like, no, that's not something to joke about. No, she's really out here saying this. Okay, let me bring up my notes because that made me forget. the next point, it was really hard. It was really bad. So finally after I felt safe enough to go outside, because when 2020 hit, I really stayed in the house. I was even scared to, like, I had anxiety about going to the grocery store. It was really bad. So after all that was done, I was like, you know what? I'm going to work. I wanna get a job. I miss working because I'm used to being a provider. I'm used to hustling. I'm used to making money. Even though, for some years, probably like 5 years or more, actually, that was more than 5 years, I was being financially abused. I was still used to working. So even though, like, my money was being taken from me, I was used to the hustle and grind. I was used to going to work. I was used to, sorry about the noise, I'm in a parking lot, but I was used to going to work. So I wanted to go back to work. And so I did. I went back to work. And I liked the job. It was third shift. So I had to take my sister to school in the morning. My mom, she decided, because I work, she wanted to work too. So I had to take her to her job, and her job was like assisted living jobs, like sitting with people. So I had to take her everywhere, and some of the places we didn't know where it was. Basically, I wasn't getting no sleep. And I'm also working. So I'm working third shift, and I'm working at a company I've always wanted to work at. I've always wanted to see what their plant was like. Ended up being a total letdown, but it's okay. I was in there, and I was very grateful to be back at work. Like, I was so grateful because I knew finally I'd be able to work and no one would take my money from me, because that person who was taking my money for years, I don't live with them anymore. So I was very grateful to be working again, because I'd be able to keep something and I'd be able to do something for myself, Anyways, so I'm on this job and I love it, and I'm trying to get, like, acclimated and stuff. And this is my first time working in the city I'm working in, so I'm not used to, like, people's attitudes and stuff. I'm used to working with really, really country people, but I'm working in a different city with these people, with certain types of people I'm not used to working with. And it hasn't happened since high school. Like, in high school, I used to get a lot of sexual advances and stuff, but when I was a teenager, I didn't mind as much, and I was like, I'm young, so I can just play it off, it's fine. But as an adult, I have more responsibilities, and another thing is, once you get older, you get more exposed to the world, and you start to understand that certain behaviors like that, like sexual advances, really aggressive sexual advances, is not safe for you. So as you get older, you start to realize it's not safe. Like, this person could do anything to me, and I have to let them know in the safest way possible that I'm not okay with this. So I tried to do that in several different ways, and it ended up turning into a workplace bullying thing, basically. Some women on the job started taking up for the guy, and I was like, I was very shocked. I was very shocked because I thought, because this is what I would do, I thought other women would come to my aid, but they didn't. It was the total freaking opposite. It was really bad. And ended up getting in touch with HR and everything. And at the end of the day, the HR lady, she didn't come to my aid either. And I don't know what the people on the job told her. It really doesn't matter. Now that I know it's from my Saturn Return, I mean, I'm not blaming anybody in this situation, honestly. Not even the guy. I don't have no grudges, to be honest. None whatsoever. I'm just glad I'm not in that environment anymore, because I really started to feel really uneasy, like really sick to my stomach. My panic attacks started coming back. And I've worked really hard to get rid of these panic attacks. So that happened too. And that's the first time me ever dealing with workplace bullying. And I really just thought to myself, I was like, when's a time where I made someone feel threatened? And it really made me take a look at myself. It really made me feel like I can be better about how I make people feel. And I need to make sure I'm not only aware of people's words but their body language, because I would never want someone to feel that way. And I would never want someone to feel that way because of something I did. Anyways, that was an experience. It was a very short time, but it was very stressful. And also, on my way to taking my mom to one of her jobs, her car broke down, because at the time I was driving her car, and her car broke down on the interstate. And when I look back on that time, my mom, because my mom, I'm just gonna be real, she has no business working. She's on disability. She has no business working. But I wanted to support her, but I was really, really putting myself through it for someone who has no regard for me. She does not think about me. She doesn't care about me. Nothing. And I know it's hard for people to hear that, because they're like, oh, your parents brought you into this world. I want people to get out of saying that. It's very dismissive to children who have grown up with a lot of abuse from their parents. I don't owe her anything. I'm just going to put it that way. I don't owe her anything. Children do not ask to be born. I care about all my family, no matter how they treat me. But this was someone on my dad's side who was always really kind to me. And when I first heard the news, I didn't know it was COVID or anything, but I dropped everything to go see him. And what I realized about myself is that I can't do funerals. I can't do grief. Seeing my cousins, seeing his children grieving and upset was really, really hard. It still is. I think about it sometimes, and it really, it was hard. And it made me really realize that for years I've been, usually when funerals happen, I just try to not be present. I try to escape in whatever way. And this time I made myself be present, and it was really hard seeing them grieve and grieving myself, because usually I don't allow myself to grieve until later, because I'm so used to being the person who's strong for everybody else, even when I was a kid. And I couldn't do it. I just couldn't be there. So I left the funeral, and I felt bad, but at the same time I just knew that I just couldn't do it. So now I know for a fact that I can't do funerals at all. I love my mama, but I probably won't even go to her funeral. I can't do it. It's just a no for me. And okay, let's move on from that, because once I start crying, I'll never stop. Okay, so I have my own car. I ended up getting it fixed or whatever. But so it ends up breaking down or whatever. It still has issues. And so that happened during my Saturn return as well. But I think it's like cycles. So think about it this way. The only reason why I mention this is because during your Saturn return, unhealthy cycles, whether it be like a car that breaks down all the time and maybe you should just replace it instead of trying to keep it, or listen at me trying to tell y'all, and I should be listening to my own words. Or maybe it's a relationship that's really unhealthy for you, and during your Saturn return, let's say for instance there's a relationship you're holding on to and it's really unhealthy for you. It's gonna get worse. I just want to tell you right now, if you're about to have your Saturn return, please do some house cleaning now. It's not worth it. And don't hold on to things too tight. Make a plan. If it's not something you can let go of immediately, make a plan. Know for a fact that during your Saturn return, Saturn is not going to let you keep it. because Saturn knows is something's better for you and is trying to teach you something's better for you. Make a plan to get rid of it, because if you don't get in your mind that you can't keep it, it's going to be devastating once you realize that you can't keep it, because Saturn's going to let you know without a shadow of a doubt, you're not going to keep this for much longer. And you're going to realize that. And if you're a person that holds on to relationships and things and places and whatever, if you hold on to things too tightly, Saturn is you're going to have a nervous breakdown. You're definitely going to have a nervous breakdown. Which brings me to my next point. My mom doesn't give a rat's ass about me. Like, I understood that she had her own childhood that was messed up, which didn't give her the tools to raise me right, which made me have a lot of abuse as a child. But now I'm an adult and I see things more clearly than when I was a child. And like I said, I have my sister. My mom doesn't care about shit. She doesn't. She doesn't give a rat's ass about me. Okay? And figuring this out, that's what made me have a nervous breakdown. I kid you not. Crying at work and everything. Like, I haven't cried this much since I was a teenager. Since I was like in my I'm ready to leave stage, you know what I'm talking about? Because this is after I decided to stay. But like, I haven't cried this much in a very long time. And it could just be my Saturn return, but really, really realizing that the person who gave birth to you has no nurturing feelings whatsoever towards you. No love whatsoever towards you. Like, I've seen